I'm going to quickly show you how to set up a class on Study Island and how to put students in so that you can create your classes and they'll know where to go and how to find their assignments. Okay, so I'm logged in and I'm going to go to teacher page. And on your teacher page, you want to go to class manager. This is how you're going to create your classes. If you have classes from last year, if you want to delete them, if you happen to have some old ones, all you have to do right here is remove class, the big red X, so that'll delete any classes you have. I still have a class open for kids that I was helping through the summer, so I'm going to leave that one. Okay, for you guys, enter a title for your new class. So think of a name for your class. Not very exciting, but I'm just going to go 5th grade RTI Group 1. Okay, so that'll be the name that I choose for my class here. That one. Oh, by the way, I'm using just a touchpad. I'm trying to train myself. As much as I don't like it, I'm still trying to get used to it. All right, so made my class. And a class doesn't mean anything unless you have students in it. So let's say, for example, I happen to pick 5th grade students. I can pick all the students. I can pick some of the students. I can even pick students from different grades. Let's say you happen to have a 4th grader that's working at a 5th grade level. You can select 4th grade students, 1st grade students, whatever you want. Okay, so notice these are all selected. So I'm going to hit save, and I'll have students in my class. All right, so up here you have tabs. You have the class properties, which is basically like the name of the class and who's in it. And then you have class page and assignment. This is where you're going to create assignments for the classes. If you notice, I have no active class assignments here. So you're going to create assignments for them to do. Now you have a couple of options. You can create an assignment which clicks on the different standards for Michigan as well as the Common Core. You can pick them that way. You could also use the assessment library. These are preloaded questions that are already set to go. Okay, and I'll show you this in a bit, but let's go back to the add an assignment. Okay, so I'm going to add an assignment. And I'm going to guess for most of us using Study Island, what we're going to do is probably do create practice and instruction assignment. This is an assignment that they will have a pre-test if you choose, and they'll learn certain topics, let's say in math. Okay, and each topic will also have a lesson. I know the kids tend not to look at the lesson, they just want to go and click and play the games. So you want to create a practice and instruction assignment, especially for people working on math. What you have to do is put in some parameters when you assign it, when it's due. So let's say I make an assignment, I'm going to make it on Tuesday, and it's going to be due, I don't know, let's say by the end of the month of September. Okay, so they have to have it done by a certain date if you choose to do that. You can also just go back and keep adding on. If a kid hasn't finished, you can keep changing their due dates. Okay, so I created one that's due September 30th. So I'm going to call this assignment number 1. So this will be the first thing they see. Like, they'll have a list of assignments, and assignment number 1 will come up for them. You might want to put a message here. I'll put something like, be sure to get this done, or, you know, do this one first, or some silly message for them to know what you want them to do. Down here, if you're doing math, you can enable your calculators. These are not enabled right now. They do have access to the computer on the computer calculator, but if you just keep an eye on them, you can tell them, no, can't be using that. Okay, so that is on no. And it's going to be for my 5th grade RTI1 group that I made. And the topics, well, the topics that we have on Study Island are Michigan based, which is like the GLICs, and then there are the Common Core, and pretty much they're the same topics but in a different order. So I'm assuming I have a 5th grade class. I'm going to go starting off the year with 4th grade math topics, kind of like as a review to make sure kids know what's going on. So I picked 4th grade math, and it says here get topic list. This is a list of all the things that are preloaded in Study Island for 4th grade. And what you can do is you can go through and you can select all or some or just a very few of what you want your kids to cover. What Study Island suggests, and this is good practice for your students, especially if it's something like review, is to make sure they do a pre-test. And the pre-test will cover all these topics, and they go through it once and they try to score on their own. And then they'll go through and learn the lesson. You don't have to use a pre-test. If you choose not to, just unclick it. Okay, so let's say I want my students to practice place value, whole numbers, factors and multiple, blah, blah, blah. I'm just picking a bunch of stuff here. And then let's say fractions and decimals, their absolute favorite. Okay. If you notice too, there's different icons here. You can view the lesson, for example, the place value lesson. What you can do is you can click on this and you can see the lesson that the students have access to. They can look at this the whole time that they're on Study Island. They just, you know how they are. They choose not to, and why read? Who does that? So this is the lesson that they would see, and it kind of explains everything. You can also choose to look at the questions ahead of time. And this happens if you pick a subject like fractions of decimals. You're like, okay, it's going to be questions about fractions of decimals. But Study Island has different ways of asking questions. So if you want, you can preview them and see the questions ahead of time. Okay, so for example, for place value, questions are pretty straightforward. You know, which number is written 3,477. So this is probably what you want to cover when you're talking about place value. Okay, so here are all the questions, and you can look at them ahead of time. The other thing you can do is view the Common Core. View the standard for Michigan. This is the 4th grade Michigan standard this relates to. So in case you're wondering which one you're covering, it's all actually right here for you. Okay? All right, now that I've selected the topics that I want my students to do, let's throw in some geometry in there for fun. Why not? Love that stuff. You want to activate. So down here I'm at activate and save assignment. You want to activate it. And then you want to save it. Okay, so I activated and I saved it. And if you look, I have an assignment already here. And this is what the students will be able to view. They'll be able to click on this and go through the lessons and go through the practice and play little games and get some experience with those topics. Okay, so that's how to quickly set up a class as well as an assignment. Very basic.